Fiveish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the Fiveish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the Fiveish. I am the Sixth Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The Tangents and Squee continue all the way to episode 461 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And the Tangents and Squee have gone on for 10 years. Say what?
We hit double digits!
Yay!
Wow, guys, look at us.
Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like we do right with a virtual demo and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bengal.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
We are here and 10 years on, and holy cow, yes.
Yes.
We are going to be getting to in depth, I suppose, or as much as we want to talk about.
Yeah.
But first of all, thanks for 10 years. I mean, good grief.
Yes.
Here we
Yeah.
are.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we want to tackle news and feedback.
And
then
really, we don't have any. We don't have any news. It's been very
news.
quiet. So.
It has indeed.
So,
Yay!
Yeah.
I mean, given all the 10 o'clock news we've had, I was like, I'll take it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of feedback. We're going to do feedback a little differently, though, because we do have some feedback that's just like, you know, what we've talked about recently on episodes, and then we have anniversary feedback. So we'll do the more regular feedback first. Of course, we have feedback from Shalane.
Of course.
So, and it's a long one. So she says, welcome back, ladies. I thought this week you would be doing your 10th anniversary episode or do a double episode for Brittany's birthday and 10th anniversary, or you might do a live stream on social media for your 10th anniversary, but I'll be patient. Yes, those were all options, but yeah, this is the road we decided to take. So
Yeah, we're going traditional this time, which is fine.
yeah. So the Disney movies and other movies I've seen, the Sherman Brothers have done the music for that I've seen are Mary Poppins, The Jungle Book, Sword in the Stone, Winnie the Pooh, The Parent Trap, and the Broomsticks, The Aristocats, Charlotte's Web, Chi Chi Bang Bang. Also for saying Mr. Banks, I thought Jason did a good job of playing him. Yes, he did. Also, fun fact of The Jungle Book, they wrote all the songs except for Bare Necessities. Anyway, I'm excited for Moana 2. It's going to be amazing. I was going to save this for your 10th anniversary, but I'll say it now. Disney Animation Studios probably decided to do sequels in the movie theater, since the other sequels for Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and other were direct to VHS. Most of those were VHS at the time. Sequels.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how the sequels do in the movie theater now. Frozen 2 and Ralph Breaks the Internet did all right. Yes, they did. And apparently Inside Out 2 just, like, made bank over the weekend.
Yeah.
So
That's what I heard.
I've actually heard it's quite good, so I'm happy that it just wasn't a, I don't know, cheap cash grab. Although I'm a little wary about the fact, like, oh, now they're gonna think, oh, people want sequels. Well, let's just do sequels in theater. And I'm like, well, this one was good by all accounts,
Yeah.
but let's see how you do. Let's see how you do going down that road, because they got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, just because one sequel's good doesn't mean the other ones are gonna be.
Yep.
Mhm. But we'll see.
yeah.
Just
For Pixar
I'm just-
sequels, for Pixar sequels, speaking of Pixar, Right After Toy Story 4 would be the last sequel for Pixar and just origin stories from here on out. They were actually taking a break from sequels, and now we're back with Inside Out 2, which comes out this week as she wrote this feedback. I read Inside Out 2 tickets have been selling quick. Yes, they have, and a lot of them. Plus, Moana 2 trailer has surpassed the Frozen 2 trailer, so there's a good sign for both. But since the pandemic era, most people either wait for the Disney movies to come out on Disney Plus instead of seeing them in the theater. Because Encanto was successful on Disney Plus, and now Wish became successful on Disney Plus. But some of the Disney Pixar films have done well and not so well in the movie theater. But I love them.
So
They only do well
I
on
heard,
Disney Plus more. Yeah, well, it saves them a lot. The average household a lot of money.
you go to your local grocery store, find the movie theater box candy that's 10 for $10, as opposed to paying $10 for one of those boxes. Although I find it interesting. She brings up an interesting point about how Encanto and Wish being that did well on Disney Plus, because for a while, because Pixar, they were putting a bunch of Pixar movies on Disney Plus, and people were like, oh well, is Pixar becoming the one that they just dump on streaming, and Disney Animation goes to the theater? Well, now it's looking like, with Inside Out 2 doing so well, maybe Pixar can bring it back, and then the Disney Animation ones go on Disney Plus. It's like, it's a very weird time that we're living in for entertainment, and some of these things are like, okay, we could have told you that probably wasn't a good idea, but then some of the things are a mild surprise that they do okay. So again, fill your Figment popcorn bucket and sit back and watch the show, because the stuff going on behind the scenes is just as much, if not more, entertaining than what's actually being produced. So watch this space, or any space that's talking about it, as there is no shortage of that on the internet.
Yeah, I think it just goes to prove that there is no secret formula when it comes to movie success.
No, the audience wants what the audience wants, and you can say whatever you want, like, oh, you must love this, and people can just be kind of like, we're gonna go with this other thing, but thanks anyway.
Exactly. So let's see. I believe Jennifer Lee, Disney's animation chairman, and Pete Docter, Pixar's chairman, are trying their best to do amazing films like how John Lasseter did. But let's see how Inside Out 2 and Moana 2 do in movie theaters. Well, we know Inside Out 2 because we have the hit. Courtesy of hindsight now. So we'll see how Moana 2 does, because Moana is Disney Animation, not Pixar. So
right. Although Moana was like the most streamed, or is the most streamed movie on Disney Plus. So we'll see how it does in the theaters.
Yeah,
that's probably why they went with it.
Let's see. I also found out why Lin-Manuel Miranda isn't doing the music for Moana 2. It's because he's busy doing the music for the upcoming Mufasa movie. So he took over Elton John's place. I was going to save this for when you girls got to D23, since you missed the trailer for Mufasa weeks ago. We'll find out more for Moana 2 and Mufasa in D23 at their expo. And who knows how well Mufasa will do in movie theaters at Christmas, and maybe Lin-Manuel Miranda could get nominated for Best OG Song at the Oscars and have a chance for an EGOT like Elton John. Possibly. I did figure out something about The Lion King, same with The Wizard of Oz, but I'll save that for when you got girls do an episode on The Lion King and The Wizard of Oz. It's like she reading our mind.
I did not tell her the schedule.
What might be coming down the schedule. There's still just make sure you hold the write down those thoughts somewhere, Shalane, so you don't forget them, because it will be a little bit before we get to, it's definitely going to be a little bit before we get to Wizard of Oz. But the Lion King, sooner than the Wizard of Oz, but still going to be a hot minute. So hold those thoughts, but try not to forget them. Anyway, going back to Moana 2, I got a good double feature name for Moana 2 and Wicked Moana.
Yeah.
I thought it would be perfect instead of Wakana or Mocked. Yes. I also think a double feature name for the Dark Knight Mamma Mia would be called Dark Mia. Plus, Rise of Skywalker and Cats also came out the same day back in 2019 before COVID. I think it would be called Rise of Cats.
Oh my.
I have a
So
friend
is
who.
this new? Is this the new thing? You think of portmanteau names for movies and not celebrity couples?
I guess.
Sure,
Celebrity couples, they come and go so fast, It's like,
Yeah.
that is true. But ever
Yeah.
since Barbenheimer, they're trying to pin something down, I guess.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who saw both Rise of Skywalker and Cats the same day. I really hope they saw Rise of Skywalker after Cats.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that was going to be a serious letdown.
Ooh, yeah. Skywalker would have been a palate cleanser.
Yeah. So I also found out the director of the first Moana also directed The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, Treasure Planet, and Princess and the Frog. Those directors are John Musker and Ron Clement. Why they're not coming back to direct Moana 2 is because they retired years ago. Well, good reason. I thought they were awarded the Disney Legend already, but they're not yet. So maybe in the future they will be. Probably. Because I read that when Mark Henry retired, he will be awarded a Disney Legend. I don't know what the thought process is for the Disney Legend Awards, to be honest with you. So. Last thing, I'm excited for Beetlejuice. It looks good. I wonder if they'll have little Easter eggs of Alex Baldwin and Gina Davis since they aren't coming back for the sequel. Anyway, that is all I have to say. I don't know. I do know, because we did an episode all about Beetlejuice, that Alex Brightman, who originated the role of Beetlejuice on Broadway, has been very cagey about whether he has an appearance in Beetlejuice. He's doing very much the no I don't, and then he'll be like, yes I do, and then no I don't, yes I do, no I don't, yes I do. So
Choose, please.
yeah. So that would be cool if Alex, because it'd be one of those where it's like you know him or you don't. So it would be cool for the fans that are the people that are huge fans of the Broadway musical and know that he was the OG Beetlejuice. So
I like his voice.
yeah.
Like I've seen him in or heard him in recently in some thing. I don't know now, but
yeah, he was in. He wasn't part of the starting cast, but he did come in and take over the role of Sir Robin, I think, in the Spamalot revival. So, and then he also does a lot of voiceover work, for animated shows and stuff like that. He's actually going to be at GalaxyCon in Columbus this December, so that's actually kind of
nice.
Cool. So I could potentially meet him before I ever get to see Beetlejuice on stage, because I still have to wait till next year. Not that I'm anxious or anything. Then she sends a quick follow up to that feedback. Yes, I was thinking you girls would talk about Legally Blonde since Rachel is going to see the musical. Again, hold that thought. It is coming. So, thank you, Shalane, for that feedback. So, I guess we can move on to our other feedback. And I know some of it's got questions. Some folks have got questions and some comments, and we can use that to kind of roll into our little birthday celebration. So, and we'll start with Shalane.
Might as well.
Yep. Says, hello girls, happy 10 years. I wasn't planning on sending you a third one, but I might as well. Let me tell you about my podcast experience. I think I was around when I was about to start college. I was already in college when Chrissy was doing ABC's photo challenge of movies, Harry Potter and Star Wars. I didn't know it was you girls. I thought it was just something that Chrissy was doing by herself. That made me want to do it on my own. I was doing Disney movies and characters, and I think this is when I first got Instagram and started to enjoy more of Once Upon a Time. So anyway, months later, Chrissy invited me to do an ABC photo challenge of Once Upon a Time because she was doing it. That's when I saw we weren't the only ones because others were doing it too. They started to follow me on social media. Now I finally know why Chrissy was doing those ABC challenges. I started to talk to you girls because I wanted to meet you girls in person. Then I found out you girls don't live in Utah. You live outside of Utah. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. She was like, "Wait, you have friends that don't live here?" And I'm like, "It's all the internet, hon."
Yeah. I have lots of friends that don't live near me.
Same.
We wouldn't have found each other if it wasn't for the internet. So
Exactly.
I know. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Like people say, like, "Well, don't you have friends that you like go to lunch with or anything?" And it's like, well, we probably would if we lived closer, but we don't. So
Yeah.
we record a podcast.
Yes.
That's what we do.
So that's when Chrissy introduced me to the Fiveish Fangirls, where you girls were talking about Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, Harry Potter. I just listened to around that time, I just listened to the news that you guys talked about happening. Then I wanted to hear your thoughts on the movies and TV shows. And what you had to say about San Diego Comic-Con. Merry Christmas! Since then, I've learned a lot from you girls, and I've learned a lot outside of your podcast, and more than what you girls don't cover. It helps me not worry about school or anything going on in the world like politics. Well, I'm glad we could give you a little escape.
Seriously.
That's why we do it.
Because life cannot all be worrying about the next crisis coming along.
Yep.
Now, fictional crisis.
Give us a couple hours to talk about something else. It also helped me love Comic-Con, and the Disney Parks War also got me to love anything British. But hey, glad you girls are taking my feedback and taking the topics I've given you. I kind of miss the ABC photo challenges, but that's okay. I do my own ABC challenges outside of social media. I believe I'm just a curious child and wanted to know more, like I was in school. It's complicated. It's not that complicated. I'm very curious about a lot of things either.
You know what I found out, and I wish I'd have known this before I'd gone to college, is that anything I'd want to learn, I can learn on my own for free. I could, look up, there's so many documentaries, there's so many books written on different topics. I mean, I don't need to have a formal literature class to be like, oh, I want to read such and such, book. I mean, I can find so many commentaries on it, or, pretty much anything else. So, not that I'm dogging on college, but I'm just saying, if you really want to learn something, your library is a really good place to start. Or, there's just, So never stop learning. There's always good avenues, and a lot of them you don't even have to spend any money for.
Absolutely. Also, since I listen to your podcast, I find more podcasts to help me not worry about the world today. So thank you, ladies. You're welcome. Last thing, you've also helped me understand the MCU more as well. I'm so glad we could help. And help expand your nerdy education. That's really what we're here for.
Is a service we provide.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got some feedback from Nick, and hopefully this will work.
Greetings, Brittany, Chrissy, Holly, and Rachel. This is, of course, Nick. Sadly, I was not able to join you guys to celebrate this momentous occasion in your podcast's history. 10 years of podcasting. Wow, that is a milestone and then some. And definitely congratulations for reaching this lofty number. And here is to many, many more years of the Fiveish Fangirls. I know that you have always brought fantastic and insightful episodes. You have a great listenership. They love you, as do I. And I'm sure you will continue to bring the fandom from the female perspective in spades. That said, have a wonderful episode. Congratulations once again. And here's is to another 10 years and beyond of the Fiveish Fangirls. Ciao.
Make me blush.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was sweet.
Again,
very sweet.
Friends I would not have without the internet.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and we should also, obviously I'm part of it, but we should also say happy birthday to Gold Standard.
Yes.
Because
yes.
right after, a few days after our official 10th birthday was Gold Standard's 4th birthday.
Woo-hoo.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
It's crazy that that's gone on that long.
The Gold Standard. Well, I mean, you've gone through all the Oscar winners, and now you're just sort of.
Now we're just doing whatever the hell we want.
Yeah. And there is nothing wrong with that at all.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like with this podcast. We just do whatever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you guys reviewed all those Oscar winners, and a lot of them were kind of like, why did this win?
Yes.
There were many rants and opinions that were had.
Yeah.
And now you guys are like, screw this, we're gonna do stuff that we actually like.
Yes.
Like if I was doing the awards.
Pretty much. That's what we've got. That's the point we've got into is like, okay, let's talk about the ones we think should have won in some cases. And in some cases, just like, I really just like this movie and I'm excited to talk about it. So.
But no, it's a good one.
Yep. So, all right. And we got some feedback from Chauncey, and he's got some questions.
Ooh.
Says, hello, Fangirls! I just want to tell you congratulations for a decade of podcasting and Squeeze! Holy smokes! Some questions for you from 10 years of fandom events. Who are each of your favorite meet and greet people?
Ooh.
Ooh.
So the people we would like to that we have met that we're like,
yes,
that they were our favorite to meet.
Yes.
Okay. My favorite. I mean, because I could think of like the encounters that were my favorite, and some of them would be a little incriminating against me, but that's okay. I think my favorite. Yeah. My favorite. Ooh. Oh.
You can do more than one. Again, it's our show.
Okay.
We can do whatever the hell we want.
I'll start with the one I was gonna say. And it's Alex Kingston, which was my most recent one. But she was just so fun and so I actually felt like I wasn't like, okay, I was starstruck, but I wasn't to the point where I like couldn't form coherent sentences. And I think it had kind of helped that I had been, we'd been in line for a little bit, and I had like heard her talk to other people and kind of, heard what she was saying, so I kind of got a feel for like how she'd be when I got up to meet her. And but even so, it was like really cool, and I was like not shaking, but like that nervous sort of feeling you get, like your heart gets racing. And also she complimented me on my curly hair, which was so fun.
Curly girls for the win!
Exactly. And I guess my other favorite one was when I met Linda Ballantyne and Katie Griffin, who were the English voices for Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars in the 90s dub. So not the new Viz dub that they did just a few years ago. And they were so fun. They were so, like Jared and I had dressed up. And they were just so complimentary on our costumes, and they were so sweet, and they insisted like that Jared can be in the picture. And I was so excited. I was nervous because also I was 5 months pregnant with Lottie. So I was like, and I was just feeling lousy that whole time. I was like, oh, am I going to be okay? Can I go and do this? And they were sweet. They were wonderful. And Linda had put, I'd made her Instagram. Well, Jared and I both did, obviously. So that was cool. I think those two would probably be my favorite. I'd have to think about some others, because there are some that I just sort of melted on into a puddle, and I have learned since my first celebrity meet and greet encounter. So anyway, I'll go with those. And Linda and Katie were a package deal.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Because I've been fortunate to meet a lot of people And they've all been memorable in their own way. I think, anyone that's this really should probably not be a surprise to anyone, but I think obviously the most memorable celebrity encounter is the Colin Baker fingernail incident.
But of course.
So, if for our listeners who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, good. TLDR, I met Colin Baker for the third time. And there was nobody, or there was nobody at his table except for him and his handler, and he was fiddling with his hands and he had a crack nail or hang nail or something and wanted to be able to clip it, and he asked me if I had any fingernail clippers, and I always carry some on me, so I lent him my fingernail clippers, and then as he was giving me back my clippers, he offered me the fingernail clippings. And for a half a second I seriously considered it, and then I was like, that's a bit too far even for me as a super fan. So
I mean, you could, get
he did offer.
Get the right technology and equipment, you could clone your own Sixth Doctor.
That is true. I would be like Sheldon when he got the napkin autographed by Leonard Nimoy.
Yes. Then you'd really have a twin dilemma on your hands.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I had to go there.
Yeah. So, but there's so many, different various accounts, and for the most part, everyone has been, not all of them have been chatty, but everyone's always been pleasant.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's never been anyone where like, oh, they were rude, I never want to see them again.
Well, I mean, you kind of get Comic-Con, it is a show of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
And they realize like you are paying money to be here, paying money for the autograph or the photo or what have you, and they want to make they are first and foremost entertainers. These are actors and artists and so forth, and they're like they want to make sure you have a good experience. So I've never heard of any, but Boys did have that Eric Roberts thing,
yes,
from many years ago. But yeah, I really haven't heard anybody just be obnoxious or rude or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But it makes these things fun.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been some encounters where
ongoers aren't being obnoxious. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So, and I know unfortunately Holly and Brittany have not really had a chance to really.
No, but I do kind of have a meet and greet that was kind of a book signing that really stuck out in my mind that I did share pictures within our chat.
Authors definitely count.
Yes. I had the pleasure of meeting Kevin J. Anderson a couple of times in person, twice in where I actually became an alum in Stevens Point. And he did some book signings, and I was able to get some copies of some of his books signed, Star Wars and X-Files, and I got a few pictures taken with him. So he and his wife were just awesome and fantastic. This was right when they were doing X-Files and right when he and his wife were writing the Young Jedi Knights trilogy, or not trilogy, but saga. So awesome, and I would love to, if he ever comes back to Wisconsin, I would most definitely love to go to another book signing again.
Yeah, I've met Kevin J. Anderson at a couple of cons, and was he at LTUE? Now I can't remember, but he is a gentleman. Yeah. He's a gentleman and a scholar. So you ever get a chance to meet him, do.
Mm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've not been able to like go to like that any cons. Like I either never have like I don't have the time because my work schedule. Or when I do have the time, I don't have the money. Like, ugh.
Yeah, it takes some budgeting and planning
Mm-hmm.
to make it happen. So yeah, I do definitely feel fortunate enough to be able to do things like that. It's kind of like, how it was, because for a long time it was, oh, that kind of stuff happens out in San Diego or New York or Chicago, those big cities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I like, first I'd have to travel out there, and then yeah, traveling and I just, we are not buddies, just in general. I'm very much a homebody. But then, we had Salt Lake Comic-Con out here, and it's like, oh, I can do this. And then, well, I mean, and I went to Galley that one year, and I was like, I think I can make this work. But then the next year, I had car trouble. I never made it back. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. It's like, if you can plan and make it happen, do. But I realize that not everybody can do that. So, but it's kind of part of why we do this podcast is, I don't know how other people feel that do podcasts do feel about that, but it kind of feels like, hey, we can do these things and we can share them with other people who may or may not be able to make it, and we can talk about it and share our excitement and enthusiasm. And I know there's nothing that compares with being there, but hey, I still want to share it, and I still want to. So it doesn't come from a place of, oh, look at me and what I'm able to do. It's, hey, I'm excited. Other people are excited. Let's all be excited together,
Yes.
I definitely lived through you guys, like your pictures and your stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it seems so much fun. I would love to go. Just like I said, need time, and also I'm the like I wouldn't be able to go by myself because I'm nervous like that. So I definitely have to find.
There was a stretch of time where I was like, I'm going to go do this by myself and it's going to be great. And now I'm kind of like, Jared, you got to come with me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost better to have a group experience.
Yeah, and it does. And yeah, those times when I would go by myself, I was like, dang, I wish I had someone to go with. A group of friends or somebody. But no, it's fun because then you don't have to be, you don't have to worry about everything. And and also, like, when we get to take the kids, it's, oh, they love it.
Yeah,
they do. With Alex, it takes him a little bit of time to kind of warm up to the idea, even though he's like, oh, Comic-Con, I'm gonna go and it's gonna be fun. But like when we're there, he's like, he gets overwhelmed. But then he like sets into a rhythm and he doesn't want to leave.
I hear that.
No.
Like even the conventions I've been to, multiple times and could do them with one hand tied behind my back and my eyes closed. There's still something about, like, you get into it and you get into the energy and it's like you're really excited, but at the same time, I get nervous even after all the experience that I've had, and so that's Alex is that's perfectly normal. I totally hear him, and I am a much older, seasoned adult than he is.
It is so funny, and I kind of, as a mom, I'm kind of because there was one time last year we were in line for, I don't know if we were like getting lunch or something, and we were all dressed up. We were Mario characters, and here's Mario, and Lottie was Peach, and we were waiting in line, and I thought they were gonna just start fussing and getting upset. Alex started dancing because there was some music going on over to the side, and I don't know what they were playing. It was like some fan band or something, and he was like just like dancing like and not just like swaying back and forth, like he goes all out dancing. I was a little nervous that like people around me would like get mad at him, like, oh, no, they were like watching him, and they clapped, and then they just kind of fed off their vibes, their energy, and he giggled, and I'm like, oh, this is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I have video of it somewhere, but it's just, and that's the other thing, because people, you, especially with Alex and with him having autism, you kind of worry, or I do. I mean, but everybody who's ever met Alex, or we've been in public with him, they just have fun with him, even when he does something a little offbeat, and they just they love him. And Comic-Con is no exception.
It probably helps that the neurodivergent community and geeks tend to overlap quite a bit.
That is true. That is true.
So.
I don't have to tell anybody, and it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think, and I really do think people in general are really, really good about those sorts of things, and not being rude or anything like that, or ask, well, why is he acting this way? No, it's just people are just like,
they just kind of get it.
They get it, and
yep.
Which as a mom, that's one of my that's just one of the things you worry about with your kids in general. Doesn't matter what the situation is, and it helps. It warms my heart, and I'm just like, people really are nice.
Mm-hmm.
You're restoring my faith bit by bit in humanity.
Bit by bit. If I could just stay off the internet.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the jerks hang out.
Yeah.
We just keep to our little certain section of the internet. We all good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you guys go over there and roll in your festering dung heap of. What?
We got our bubble right here with the cookies.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it here. They know me here.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, Comic-Con, it's a good time, whether or not you see any famous folks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been times where the celebrities, I'm like, yeah, I was just there because I wanted to be there. So
yeah, maybe sometimes there's not somebody you want to meet. But it's like, I want to go see the vendors. I want to go.
Yeah, it just means you can spend your money in the vendor area.
Yeah, and your wallet can cry all the way to, well, not the bank, but
yeah.
Like rent, I was supposed to pay that.
Oops. Yeah.
Disclaimer: do not spend all your rent money at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Your landlord will not be happy.
No. There's the treat yourself, but be careful. Don't treat yourself too much.
Yes.
Yeah. Some things you write on a wish list and give it to people when they say, "What do you want for Christmas?" You're like, "Here."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, please and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say, while Holly and Brittany have not necessarily been able to go to conventions, they have both met me.
Yes.
And Brittany has met Chrissy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Flew all the way out here for the wedding. I was like, what?
Yeah. I remember when she told us, she's like, I'm going to fly to for Chrissy's wedding. I'm like, it's on Friday.
I know. And she's like emailing or messaging me like, what are some good hotels or around downtown? I'm like, why do you know? And she told me, I was like, oh, well, okay then. And I was worried that I was like, well, obviously I'm going to be, getting married. I'm going to be busy, but Shalane kept you entertained, and so that was good. And my mom was like, oh, I love meeting Brittany. She was so nice. So that was cool.
And of course, that means that both Brittany and Holly have been subject to Chauncey's virtual reality demonstrations. So.
Yes.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Getting scared by the Darth Lord himself.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I was playing Beat Saber in the parking lot of the apartment I was living in.
Yes. There are people like out on their porch, like, what's going on over there? Like, not paying no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yep.
Nothing important. We're fine. We're all fine here.
Just crazy people who know each other off of the internet meeting for the first time. Nothing to be concerned about.
Yes.
Speaking of Chauncey, what was his other? Did he have another question?
Yes, he says, from 10 years of squeeze, can you recall your favorite series or cinema drop?
Oh my goodness.
He
boy.
things weird.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And he says, seriously, wow, great job on your body of work as the Fiveish family. Oh my
Thank you,
goodness.
Chauncey.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you, Chauncey.
Sort of our founder of the feast.
Yes.
Yes.
He
We love
is,
you.
he's the reason we are, quote unquote, on the air.
Mhm.
Even now. If you are listening to this via a podcasting app of some sort, you have Chauncey to thank. So
Yes.
Absolutely. Good man, that Chauncey.
Yes.
I think I'll keep him.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what a favorite would be,
Gosh.
because we've also talked about older ones too, like older
Yeah.
series and movies and whatnot. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
I'm
there's
back
just, I mean, we've discovered
Mm-hmm.
so much. Like when we
Mhm.
started, we came together because we were all fans of Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh yeah, we all like Disney stuff too, like Marvel and Star Wars, and
Mhm.
like, you know, those were like our tent poles.
Was
Yeah.
But it's,
good.
yeah, I mean, it's spread, you know, the things I'm a fan of. That list has gotten so long
Mm-hmm.
because we're
And
such
then
bad
me, Sarah-
influences on each other.
But,
Yeah.
like, here, read this.
Yeah.
Or
Does-
me
Watch
with my
this.
quote unquote trench coat of old TV series. Here,
Yeah.
take a look at this fandom, and then the vague
Yeah. You're like,
text.
hey kid.
Don't take this the
Yep.
wrong way, but
Yeah.
I hate you and I love you at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, hey kid, you want a new book series to obsessed over? Do you like
Exactly.
do you like Wizard Private Eyes?
Like, here, Dresden
Poker will
talking
never
about
die.
that
Yes.
one Jared got me on. But then I was like,
Well,
oh,
and then
this.
Yeah,
And
but then you
then
got
two-
me on it, and thanks a lot. Now I'm with everybody else going, when's the next one?
Hey, you know what?
And poor Jim is like, I'm writing other series. It's not just the Dresden Files.
Yeah, that's the thing about Jim Butcher
Yeah.
is, like, you know he's working. He's not
Oh,
like
yeah.
certain other authors we could mention that haven't dropped anything
George.
for 12 years,
Yeah.
but can find time to write a gazillion blog posts. No, Jim
Mhm.
Butcher, he's writing something.
Yep.
He's writing fiction for our consumption at some point. So
And his son
Mhm.
James has 2 books out that are really good too.
yeah, so Jim Butcher and his son James are writing their respective oeuvre. I took French.
Au
And I don't-
revoir, however it's pronounced, yeah.
Yes.
apologies to any French speakers. The work,
Yes.
their body of work.
Yes.
You're gotten silly.
Well, and the one year that we all decided to roll some dice virtually.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
We did because certain
Lockdown.
lockdown, and
Mhm.
it's like, hey, what do we do? And Jared was doing it for the library because they were trying to do a lot of virtual programming. He's like, well, here, I'll just do it for you guys too. That was a lot of fun.
He's like,
Yeah,
I
well-
could use the practice, and we're like, yay.
Hey kids, hey, want to play some D&D?
Yeah.
Sure.
Again.
Okay, I have to tell you this story.
Why do
So,
I have why do I literally have it's half a coconut. It's a long story.
Oh, I know what you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, why do I have half a coconut that sits on my desk that it is full of dice that never get used?
Mhm.
So I was trolling along. It must have been the Crunchyroll store because Bright Stuff is sadly not a thing anymore. Tier, but it got pulled in Crunchyroll anyway. They were having this big sale, so I was like, "Oh, I'll see what they have that's affordable, not cheap necessarily, but affordable." They had like this Sailor Moon dice challenge game, and I'm like,
Ooh,
I don't know
cool.
what this is, but it's Sailor Moon, and it looks like fun, so I bought it. They also bought the expansion packs; they were both on sale. deeply discounted. So I got them, and I when it came, I got the kids, and Lottie's excited, like, open it, Mom. So I open it, and it's and I read the rules, and it's like, and they use the dice, basically the D&D dice for the game, but it's just dice. It's not role playing, nothing. So so I'm reading the rules. He's like, can we play, Mom? And I'm like, this might be a little old for you, but we will try. So we have the characters, and it tells you what kind of dice they do, and like you have to you roll dice, and you have to capture each other's dice, and you do it like 5 rounds, and there's all these different ins and outs. And well, now my 4-year-old wants to play the dice challenge all the time, and I've got her talking about D20 and D6s and D8s. So she knows what these dice are, even though the game is like 10 and up. And now, of course, Jared's played with her, because it's only it's only for 2. So you could play with a group, but you'd have to be in teams. Mm-hmm. So you like play one-on-one. And I guess this is a game that's like been around like the anime convention scene for a long time, and they just put a different franchise coat of paint on it every once in a while. So I've got a Sailor Moon version, and oh my gosh, she loves it. And she's like, can we play Dice Challenge? I'm like, kid, I gotta go like do laundry or something. Can you do yourself? And she's like, no. Oh, okay. It's like, I'll come help you, and then we'll play. So
that'll be an easy transition later on if she wants to play D&D.
I know it is. It is, and like, and it's just like it's good with her math skills.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like I said, the box says 10 and up, but I'm like, she's doing it, so we play.
Yep.
And it's actually not that complicated once you know how it works. So I don't know. That was the D&D thing reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, Lottie's been playing. We've been rolling dice, having fun.
Oh, you're raising those kids right.
I'm doing my best. Alex is in this phase. Well, he's been playing Lego Batman, and there are just so many like obscure Batman characters. Also, he's watched the Lego Batman movie I don't know how many times, which is a cute movie. It's really good.
That's because it's funny as heck.
It is. It's a great movie. But so he's got this thing where he assigns nicknames to everybody he meets, and I mean everybody, even the random lady that sat by us at the splash pad the other day. So he's the Joker. The Joker is his favorite. Lottie is Batman. Jared is Superman. I am Batgirl. And his grandparents are. And then he like brings in the Marvel characters. So my dad is Ant-Man. My mom is Wonder Woman, and my mom is not giving that one up. Father-in-law Iron Man. My father-in-law is the Flash, and we've got Black Panther and Killmonger, and my one nephew, he's Polka Dot Man, which apparently is a thing.
Yes.
And I kind of had to persuade him to have my niece be. Have his cousin be Catwoman and not Two-Face, because she was not happy about being Two-Face. I was like, I like Catwoman. But he's like done like Man Bat, and oh gosh, who else has he done? There's like some slug one. Now I can't remember what it was, and that was the baby, my nephew, who's not quite a year old. So when you and then the lady at the splash pad, she's Poison Ivy, because she had red hair.
Well, makes sense.
So I think Alex needs to meet you guys so you guys can get nicknames.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. That's just one of a number of reasons why we finally need to get together.
Yes, right?
So. Yes, absolutely.
Surely there is someone at like, because you with the kids, and I think obviously we'd want to meet the kids and Jared as well. It's like surely there is someone who's in charge over at Salt Lake Fan X who just would really think it was a great idea to bring in some first timers that have never been to that convention before.
We'll do a panel or something. We'll sign. We'll sign something.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Just talking about being a geeky parent. It's. I mean, I mean, just before we got on, Lottie, we've been watching Sailor Moon Crystal. We've finished the first 3, and I have Eternal on DVD that it really isn't officially out on DVD, but I have one, and she just wants to watch the whole thing, and I'm like, that's great. I gotta go podcast, kid. But I just, it's fun. It's fun introducing your little ones to these things and seeing what they love. I mean, Lottie, she's like bounced between, she wants to be Zelda for Halloween, or she wants to be Ladybug, or she wants to be Sailor Chibi Moon, or there wasn't, those were the 3 main ones. I felt like there was a 4th one, but she wants to do that. Alex will probably just want to be Mario again. But yeah, I'm like, all these things that I grew up with or that I like, and they're glomming onto, I'm like, don't ever think this is not cool, kids, because I know when you're teenagers, teenagers tend to not like the things their parents do, but I'm like, come on, this is still cool, right? Hope so.
Yeah.
Or at least fun,
Yeah.
I don't know. That really didn't answer the question, did it, for Chauncey?
Yeah. I mean, just the way that, really just the way media has changed since we started, with now with all like the different streaming services and the stuff that's exclusive to these services, and allowing us to discover stuff that's completely new, and then also discover stuff that's just new to us.
Oh yeah.
It's like I probably never would have gotten around to watching the Goofy movie if it wasn't for you guys.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's like, because when you sit down, you look at Netflix, or pick one of the free streaming services that there are, and you're like, well, what do I want to watch? What looks good? What sounds good? Or what's something like maybe I watched a long time ago and I just revisit. But like when you have someone say, hey, here's this movie, it's streaming on such and such platform, go watch it. It's kind of nice to have some guidance there, and not just like, well, roll the dice to bring it back to dice.
It always goes back to dice.
I mean, look at Tubi, look at YouTube, look at Amazon with their free stuff. I mean, it's changed.
It really has, but I think a lot of people. I saw this article a while ago that like kids, like Gen Z or whatever, they're discovering like older shows, like the old sitcoms and stuff, even like from like black and white from the 60s. They're like, hey, these shows are pretty good. And obviously these are like people younger than us,
right?
And this is their first experience with it.
And they're also rediscovering physical media.
Yes.
Which might help bring some of the players and that back, and more physical media, which is like, hallelujah, it's about time.
I mean, the streaming is convenient. This is how I see streaming. It's like, it's a way for you to, okay, I'm going to try this out and see if I like it. And if I like it, like we do this a lot with anime. We're like, hey, we watch an anime on Crunchyroll, like, hey, this is really cool. We want to own it. So we buy it. And I'm like, yeah, do not get rid of the physical media. Do not, I mean, like even our library, some of the people over buying the DVDs, like, oh yeah, we're just going to roll that budget into our streaming stuff. I was like, have you guys seen what's on your free streaming thing at the library? I mean, there are some fun things, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to get the hot new blockbuster that is so, like, you're not going to replace Netflix or whatever with your library card. It's just not going to happen, even though there are fun things on there. But it's like, guys, we still want to be able to provide this service and these materials. And I'm like, I think you're getting a little too excited about streaming being the end all be all, because like we had Netflix and Hulu, and then everybody broke off and it's like, oh, Disney's doing their own thing. Warner Brothers, HBO's doing their own thing, Paramount's doing their own thing, Peacock, and all these other things. It's like, well, now you've split all these things. People aren't going to want to spend like all this money on all these subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to start rolling it back in together, and then you're just back to, hey, there's cable.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
You know, so all that cord cutting that we were trying to do, and I mean, they're trying to be like, oh, it's exclusive to this and this. It's like, well, that's great, but you know, at some point, people are going to look at their budgets and say, hey, we can't have 5 or 6 streaming services, especially if like maybe like you like you're watching, like there's one that you're watching and you're watching that for like a month. Maybe there's a show you're watching, but so you're not using the other however many you have. So what's all that?
Right.
You know, you got to think about your budgets, your money, and stuff like that. So we're going to go right back, like I said, right back to cable, where they're going to get bundled together. It's just not on cable. It's streaming on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think that's where it's going to go. And honestly, I think these studios are like, well, we're not going to do physical media anymore. It's like, guys, that was a way for, like, maybe your movie didn't do so good in the theater. Well, now you put it on video, people can buy it. That's how movies like The Princess Bride, as an example, became big, because that one didn't do good. It didn't do so well in the theater. But once it was out on home video and people were like renting it or they found it, they're like, hey, this is an awesome movie. I'd say even things like Labyrinth or, you know. So it's like, don't ditch physical media, guys. Just don't.
Right.
Yep.
Because, they're concerned about pirating. Yeah. But I think they're concerned, physical or streaming. It's just like, guys, if you would put some of this stuff out that we are clamoring for, that we could stream or do physical, if you would put that out, you wouldn't run into this problem. We'd be gladly forking over the money to you.
No, I would much rather pay money, whatever, $20, $30 for a box set, than try to dig it out on a torrent or something. Not that I've ever done that before. But I mean, there's some sketchy websites out there. But like, if you guys want to curb piracy, well, then make these things available and not behind a ridiculously expensive paywall, because your prices are just going up and up and up and up and up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I know you guys are hurting for cash. I get it. Economy's tough and money's tight everywhere. Well, guess what? I mean, you want to merchandise the hell out of everything you have. What's the best merchandise you could offer? Your content on physical media.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And some of them have figured that out, with every now and then. Like we've seen some of the Disney
Netflix.
Plus stuff
and Disney
get released.
Get released.
Some of the Netflix stuff has gone on physical media. I mean, they released they were DVDs, but they were boxed to look like VHS for Stranger Things.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons.
Right.
Still waiting on season 3 and 4.
Yeah. I understand the stuff that's like made by those streaming services, why it would be exclusive to them, because they're the ones that are actually creating it.
That's true.
But even then, having the physical media, you look at Amazon Prime, they created all sorts of stuff, 2 seasons of Good Omens, but I have Good Omens also on DVD because they released it on DVD.
Me too.
Do you know how often I have been checking to see if they are going to put season 2 out on DVD, Blu-ray?
Yeah.
It's still not. And I was like, I want it, because sometimes it's nice. Especially if you have internet issues or connectivity issues. At least you got physical media to sit and watch.
I will tell you, and I'll harken back to Sailor Moon a little bit. So there was a stretch of time in the early 2000s, past in 2013 or so, but right before they announced the redub and the re-release of everything. The only way you could get those is if you bought a bootleg copy off of eBay for $1 gazillion. And I mean, you would look at those and be like, I am not paying that much money, but you know what? Somebody will. And you're worried about piracy. You're worried about, because these are things coming off a slow boat from China. there's some other countries that do not have the qualms about piracy, and they'll stick stuff on eBay, they'll stick stuff on Amazon, and I've seen it. I haven't bought it, but I've seen it on Amazon, and I'm just like, that looks a little sketchy, but the reason they do it is because people will pay for it. And so I'm not saying this to encourage piracy. I'm saying this, not that I think that the studios will listen, but who knows? It's like, guys, you're telling your shareholders and stuff, oh, our subscriber numbers are down, or they're not where they should be. Well, you know what? Even if you don't have like subscribers, you're gonna hit a ceiling. You're not people. Everyone who's going to get Netflix has Netflix. You're not going to entice a new customer base. Like, there's only so many people who can pay for a subscription, and so maybe offer like the merchandising is fine. It's like, for a long time people were scoffing about cartoons back in the 80s and 90s, like, well, those are just to sell toys. Yes, because the toys were what paid for the production of those shows you like.
Exactly.
Of course they sold toys. Of course they made action figures and dolls and T-shirts and lunch boxes and all the things.
Merchandising,
Merchandising.
Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Kids are gonna love it.
Yeah.
And it is funny. It is a joke. It is a little silly, but it is reality. So if you guys want all your stuff to make money, merchandise it.
Yeah. Disney would not have survived if it wasn't for the fact that Walt, learned a very hard lesson losing the rights to Oswald. But by learning that lesson and realizing how important owning your creation is what helped Disney become what it is. Because when he created Mickey Mouse, he's like, I am going to retain the rights to this, and that includes licensing. And if you go to either the museum in San Francisco or the museum in Marceline, there are cases just full of every type of Disney licensed product you could think of in the last 100 years that the company's existed. Everything from, the stuff you think about, clothing, shirts, socks, kids' toys, alarm clocks, telephones, kitchen devices. It's like anything and everything that they could put Mickey Mouse on, they did. And that's what helped bankroll and keep Disney afloat. And that's why the company has lasted for 100 years.
Yes. Because I know some people are like, oh, but it's not real art if it's for filthy lucre. It's like, bitch, money maketh the world go round.
Yes.
And Hollywood is learning that the hard way these days. So here are your 2 golden rules. Don't piss off your audience. Merchandise the hell out of everything. That's it. That's the golden rules.
And listen to their suggestions, maybe. Sometimes they might not have a bad idea.
That's true.
Occasionally we do make sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Like we've been over this. So anyway, that
off that soapbox.
Yeah, that was my soapbox because, again, I've been waiting for Sailor Moon Cosmos to come out. It's going to be on Netflix in English in August, but Japan has already had the movie. They've released a Blu-ray box set, which I actually own. I broke down and bought the box set for my birthday, even though there are no English subtitles, no English dubbing, but it's got the soundtrack and both parts of the movie and some bonus features, but I can play on my Blu-ray player because it's region free. I was like, okay, Viz or whoever is uptight about this, you're not going to release something. I'm gonna pay my money to CD Japan and have them send it to me because it's my birthday, and I paid the shipping and I've got it, and it's really pretty. It's like it's the box is like the size of a record case. And it opens up, and there's a little booklet with the art, with the concept art and stuff. like 2 Blu-ray discs and 2 CDs, which I have listened to, like Lottie and I have listened to in the car. And she keeps asking me, what's this song called? I'm like, I don't know. The package is in Japanese, and I don't read Japanese. Although I did look it up. I did look it up online and have a list. But it's like, that's my thing, is like, if you're not going to release the things, I will go find someone who will.
Yeah.
That will give them the money.
Uh-huh.
And look what you missed out on. Although I probably still will by whenever Netflix gets off their arse and
we all suddenly turn into Taylor Swift. Look what you made me do.
No.
Right?
Seriously. Although there's a woman who knows the value of licensing her own
Yeah.
Yes.
work. So,
Owning her
retaining the
stuff.
license.
Her stuff. Yes.
So anyway, sorry. How did we get? We're talking about like physical media.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a hot button issue with me, especially when I sit in these meetings at the library. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of all of our music and DVD sections and put in study rooms. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that?
Do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, we do need some more study rooms at our branch, but don't get rid of the DVDs.
Don't get rid of the physical media.
If it wasn't for, I'd say it, till I'm blue in the face. Gold standard, at least for me, I would not have been able to do 4 years of it if it wasn't for able to get physical media from my library.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, there's the owning of it, and there's also, they can't change it. They can't go in like, streaming. Well, we're gonna take this version off and put this other sanitized or whatever. We're gonna clean it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't change it or delete it entirely is also an issue. So there's access and there's censorship is an issue, and it's like I would rather own these things that I love rather than just pay a subscription fee every month and like it goes to some nebulous, well, is this actually going to something that I want to watch, or is it going to something like, well, I watched that show and I hated it. I mean, you're just paying your subscription fee, and it's like, where is it going? Yeah. So I'm like, there is a place for streaming, absolutely. I mean, I like that I can, there's a show I want to watch, I can pull it up. I'm like, lately we've been watching Bluey, which if you haven't watched Bluey, I don't care if you have kids or not, you'll relate to it in some way. In fact, I would recommend the episode Fairy Tale, because that one is a flashback to when Bandit, the dad, was a kid, and him and his brothers, and it takes place in the 80s. It's so cute. It's great. So he's telling his girls how he was when he was a kid, and Bandit is like dad of the century. He was also a little shit when he was a kid, and it is glorious. Anyway, I won't spoil it, but like, we're watching, we're finding out stuff that we like, we're discovering these things, and then we turn around and like, okay, I want to buy it and have a copy of it here for when, maybe the internet goes out, or maybe we go on a road trip and want to watch it. We go over to somewhere that does, like, go over to Grandma and Grandpa's. Maybe they don't have Disney Plus, so, we'll pop the DVD in and show them, hey, this is the show we like. Mm-hmm. Or, maybe for some reason the streaming thing toes up and, hey, we still got our DVD. Mm-hmm. So, there's plenty of reasons. Plenty of reasons to all that stuff.
Probably the physical media out of my cold, dead hands.
Absolutely.
Right?
I will say, to save space, we have gotten rid of a lot of the cases, especially the ones that are very, very generic. Like the really nice box sets, we've kept those intact. Uh-huh. But we have gotten rid of a lot of the cases for stuff, and we just have those, big binders with the sleeves for discs. But we still have the physical media, even if we don't have the case for it. So,
and
if you're concerned about space, physical media doesn't necessarily mean you got to keep the thing that it's in.
Yeah,
right.
And if you want to keep I'm just thinking of like the Doctor Who DVDs that were like not the box sets that they've been doing lately, but the ones that are like the individual ones, because they have listing of like, here's all the special features, and there's some great special features on there.
Oh yes.
You can save those little inserts and like put them in a binder or something, or an envelope,
Mhm.
and just have them there, and you can like stick them in the CD binder thing too. So there
Mhm.
are ways to do it, and I do know of some people who are very technically skilled who like just have all of their stuff on like a server, a personal server, and they like however they do it, they stream it from their personal server that is at their house on
Mhm.
site, and they can stream it onto their TV. So if you are that technically gifted, do that. But for the rest
Mhm.
of us, the discs in the CD binders, probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of an interesting discussion for our 10th anniversary.
Yeah. I mean, things have the stuff has changed. We've seen
I
a
know.
lot. We've seen a lot come and go in 10 years, and partially that's why we've been able to do this for
Oh,
10
yeah.
years, is because it's not staying stagnant. We're always finding something new and interesting to discuss, whether it's a new movie or a new TV series, that's either part of an existing thing that we already love or something completely new because somebody suggested it.
Yeah. Well, and I like, especially that COVID year, that I like that we are also able to go back and watch some things that are either we haven't watched in a while, or
Mm-hmm.
like you said, Rachel, you had never seen a Goofy movie until we're like, oh, we gotta talk about it. And that one's from that year, or things that are having an anniversary, like, hey, we haven't reviewed this on the podcast, so let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like if tomorrow, this isn't gonna happen, but if tomorrow people stopped making movies and shows, they just no more, you don't get any more at all ever again. There is still enough content out there that you could watch try to watch all of it, and you would not be able to watch all of it in your lifetime. You just couldn't. There are hours and hours of things now. Is all of that stuff great? Whatever. But then there's some things that, like, there's some classics that I haven't watched. There's things I'm like, oh, I want to just sit down and watch all that, but I just haven't for one reason or other. And then that's without getting into all the books that are out there that you could read.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if that ever happens, if Hollywood ever just it doesn't exist for one reason or another, there's still plenty to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And plenty to see, and plenty to read and
listen
experience,
to, and
things to be entertained by.
Yeah, like even if we just narrowed it down to like one thing, we would be able to keep ourselves entertained for a while. I mean, look at our brother podcast. They're like a year and some change older than us, and they're still going because even when we've had these long stretches without Doctor Who, there's plenty of books, there's plenty of comics. Lord knows Big Finish is keeping our wallets crying on a weekly basis. We could just do Big Finish and that would last us years of just Big Finish. So, it's like, it's a good time to be a geek and a fan about something. You've got options. Yeah. Is the thing. So.
And, I kind of, I don't know, for some reason that, Rachel, that comment of yours just kind of made me think of something. So, like, we talk a lot about, like, having a group of fans and friends in fandoms and things that, like, hey, we can enjoy these things together. And I just am kind of thinking of a time, it goes back to Sailor Moon of all things. Again, sorry, I just guess it's on my mind. But this could have been true of anything. Is when I discovered that show, and I watched it, and I didn't have anybody. Okay, like my sister Allison was into it, but then she kind of like didn't after a while. But I still liked it. But I like had to plan. Like, I got to get home after school at this time so I can watch the episode because, you know, it was on Cartoon Network and DVR wasn't a thing and stuff like that. So I had to get home and watch it. And and it was like on right when I got home after school. So I just could not waste any time, or like I could catch like part of it. And like my brother gave me crap about it. My mom and dad didn't quite get it. They thought it was, I don't know what they thought it was. And so I just kind of was like something I watched on my own. I obviously didn't have anybody at school that was into it, or if they were, I didn't know about it. And so I just watched it and I loved it. I loved the story, loved the characters. You know, it was great. And yes, it was the 90s dub, and I know a lot of people get all huffy about it and like, you know what, screw you. So when I was in college and I had more access to the internet and I was like, oh, let me like find it. Are there, you know, internet websites about this? And I kind of found that fandom, and I realized just kind of how, I don't know what the word is, but it was not something I wanted to be a part of. But we'll just put it that way, put it nicely. Now, there were some people like did really nice fan art. The fan fiction was great because this was the so-called wilderness years of Sailor Moon when you could not find the show, or it was off the air and they didn't have the discs or, you know, the DVDs or anything, or heaven forbid even the manga was nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. So it basically existed online. So I would you know, find videos, read it, you know, what people have posted online. But then there was like some of the commentary and some of the things that people would talk about that I'm like, yeah, I'm not into that. That's not my thing. Or I'm not into this part of it. And I just kind of felt like, I don't take this wrong. Don't take this wrong, but I don't need to have a group of people around me to enjoy this thing. And there have been a lot of fandoms of mine that I realize I can just enjoy it on my own. I can just, I have the thing in my hand. Mm-hmm. It is mine. I can watch it. I can read it. I can do whatever. And I don't need permission. And I don't look for permission from anyone to do this thing that I like to do. Would it be nice to have people like, I'm getting Lottie into it. Would it be nice to have people around me who enjoy it the same way I do? Sure. Is it necessary? Not really. And I think, and I kind of feel like we're heading into this era, I guess, of fandom where maybe it's going to kind of pull back a little bit. Not entirely, because I still think there's going to be sort of the diehards who are going to, you know, keep the flame alive, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And we're definitely part of that with our podcast. But I don't think it's going to be as hip as it has been in the past decade. But that still doesn't mean we can't enjoy it. And it doesn't mean that we need, you know, all the big, I don't know, the big Hollywood glitz and glam and what have you to enjoy it. And I hope we still enjoy it. I hope we still like it. But I just kind of go back to that, you know, I started watching the show as a middle schooler in, you know, it was downstairs in my parents' basement and nobody was around and I just watched it and loved it. And that's probably how it's going to end up being one day. Maybe not in my parents' basement, obviously. They don't own that house anymore. But I don't know. I just want to kind of encourage people, like, just because maybe things change or maybe it goes in a direction that you're not on board with, or that maybe the fandom gets a little funky a little bit, but you still love the thing you love, just love it. Mm-hmm. Still love it. And you know, you do not have to seek nor accept permission for anything, because I never did. And I, you know, when I was a young kid and I loved Ninja Turtles and all the girls thought I was nuts for that, but the boys were like, heck yes, there's a girl who loves Ninja Turtles. You know, I just rolled with it, and the girls just, you know, they can look down their sour noses at me all they want. But yeah, that's just sort of my, I don't know. That's another thing that's been on my mind lately, and I don't have to just talk to myself in the shower about it.
I totally get it. You've given me a very good segue, even if you did not realize it.
Okay. Well, awesome.
Because that is something that is very near and dear to me, as a person, as a as a self-titled professional nerd. I can carry that title because I gave it to myself. That while there will be ebbs and flows, as society changes, as technology changes, and we grow and adapt and things change, the desire to me personally, the desire to not necessarily be in people's face, but just go about my day knowing that I am being like the most authentic version of myself I can be. And for me, being a nerd is a huge part of that. It's a big part of my personality, the way I live my life, the way that it permeates literally my skin. Look at the tattoos I have on my body. It's like it's literally I'm a nerd down to the molecular level. But I remember a time where I really, really kept that under wraps because I was so concerned about what other people might think. I so wanted to be in, with what the cool kids were into in that time period. Mostly high school is what I'm referring to. I've made this comment several times on various podcasts and places across the board. We would be, I was a marching band in high school, which that automatically just makes you like, a dweeb for some circles. But, while the seemingly cooler kids, would be in their little friend groups and talking about like, the latest whatever movie that was out at the time, 97. Oh, go see Titanic for like the 15th time, and listening to the latest album from Britney Spears or TLC or whatever, and I'm over here like, I got the new Weird Al album. Like James Cameron who? Yeah. I'm watching this magic special from the 80s that my dad taped for like the 15th time this weekend. While you were off seeing Scream or whatever. And even before our podcast came along, I started to really like grow into the nerd. It also helped that society has shifted, and being a nerd is way more socially acceptable in general. But for girls, there's still some speed bumps. We're still slightly behind everybody else. But when I came into reignited my love for Disney, and that led me down the podcast rabbit hole, which led me to Lou. And then when FOMO got me watching Doctor Who, and I was like, oh, let me see if there are any Doctor Who podcasts out there, which in 2012, there were like 5, and one of them was Traveling Vortex. And, it was really that. It was podcasting really that allowed me to really grow into my nerddom and not feel so like, self-conscious and ashamed about the things that I love and enjoy. And that has opened up so many windows and doors that I could not have even dreamed of in my wildest dreams. Get the opportunities and circumstances that have come across my desk and in the inbox. And if you follow me specifically on social media, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, you've seen this, but this is my opportunity to make the announcement on the podcast, is I am writing a book.
Yes.
About this very thing. Essentially what it means to be a fangirl, and in this day and age where we've come from, where we are now, where we're going, and really just taking stories like what Chrissy just said, and other people like her and me and the rest, and Holly and Brittany, and collecting those stories and collecting that that information, so that hopefully whenever this actually comes together in something resembling a book, because right now it's a mess of notes and post-it notes and scribbles and stuff just all over the place. Like, my desk is just like a hot mess right now. It's just stuff everywhere. I've got books all over the floor in various piles. So, but yes, my goal with not even any sort of deadline written in pencil at this point, because I have no idea how long this is going to take me. And I think it's relevant. I think it's going to be relevant enough that, if it takes me a year, if it takes me 5 years, I think it'll still be relevant. Mm-hmm. But for anyone that, wants to, I'll try to post somewhat regularly on my social medias progress. But I also do have a GoFundMe going, just to kind of help with the costs that come with writing a book. Is not just sitting down with like Word and just start banging out letters and sentences, especially when it comes to nonfiction. There's a lot more, there's a lot of research involved. I'm going to be, I've got lists of various people that I want to reach out to, whether they're fellow nerdy girls like us or they're experts in various topics. So, I'm going to have to reach out and arrange interviews, hopefully, and that's going to require time, and time is money. So, and at the moment, as we're recording this, I am still technically unemployed. That technically might be changing, although nothing has been signed yet. So, I can't. Technically, I'm still unemployed for some amount of time.
Nothing is sure until it's signed, sealed, delivered.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I've been fortunate that some people have donated so far, and I've already used some of that over the weekend. I went to a book sale. We have a up north of Indianapolis, as you're headed towards Chicago. There's a warehouse for a book distributor, so kind of like your Amazon distribution warehouse, but this is just for books. So like your local friendly bookshop and your your Barnes and Nobles, it's one of the places they get their inventory. And I guess once a year they open up to the public to sell all their overstock. So I got over $400 worth of books for $20.
Wow. Nice.
Yes. Because everything was $1. And I probably would have gotten more, but I had to be able to carry it out myself. So I really only stopped because my body reached a limit, and also I was there up until 5 minutes before the sale was over, and they were starting to push people towards the exit. So so time ran out and my body ran out. Otherwise, I probably would have bought more.
Yeah, you need to bring a wheelbarrow to those things.
They don't allow you to.
Right.
That's the problem. You have to be able to carry it. Like, you can bring your own containers if you want, but nothing with wheels. So you got to be able to carry it. At least to the cash register. Once you get beyond the cash register, it's like, see, you got someone run out to the car and get you some wheels, like a wheelbarrow or something. That's fine. But when you're actually on like the floor with all the merchandise, it has to be manpower.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ruin my fun.
I
Fun,
know.
Oh man.
Me with
So.
me with one of those flatbed carts from Sam's Club would not qualify.
No. Not what? No. You can have somebody at the exit waiting for you. It's like you're like, hobbling. Although you could tell some people, like for some people, this was not their first rodeo. Like they were prepared with like, because they had cardboard boxes ready for people if you didn't bring like your own container. And you'd have people with like cardboard boxes and they'd fill them and then they close the flaps and then they'd stack them and they brought like straps and could put them through the handle of the cardboard box and just drag behind them. So it's like, oh, you've done this before.
I feel like I need to like lift some iron before doing that, but
yeah.
geez.
So, but it was really cool. I had no idea what to expect, like what they would have available as far as merchandise. I just saw it and I'm like, ooh, I have nothing better to do on a Saturday morning and everything's $1. Sure, sign me up. And
oh my gosh,
it was pretty cool. So, you know, if you might want to check your local-ish area if you live, a decent metropolitan sized area for stuff like that. So. I stumbled across it on Facebook events, so I'm just saying. You never know. Did I need to buy, $400 worth of books? No, but I could.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when
those
it
pens
wasn't
you got
$400.
look really good.
Yeah. So, are all of them going to be gems and help me in this book writing journey? I don't know. If some of them turn out to be duds, thankfully, we know someone who runs a women's library that I'm sure will gladly take donations. So, considering everything I bought was in some way related to geeky women or women's studies or feminism or gender studies or famous women, some are like just books of collections of like these are some amazing women throughout time, and then some are like these are amazing women in a specific industry, like the space, working for NASA and stuff like that, and then some are biographies or memoirs of specific women. So, but I was like wild, Plus, there's stuff I get from my library. Again, even though I, I'm developing our own little, it's obviously here at my house, which doesn't really help you guys a whole lot. Although, if you want title suggestions as I go through this stuff, I can certainly give it to you. But we kind of have our own little fangirl research library, slowly growing here at my house, much to my chagrin. I don't think Chauncey really cares one way or the other, as long as he doesn't trip over anything. So
yeah, I'm sure.
As long as it doesn't start to move towards the garage, I think you're good, right?
Yes. As long as my stuff doesn't start detangling with his, then I think we're good. So
that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm throwing my hat into the. I'm gonna try this whole book writing thing ring.
Cool.
So.
Are you thinking of indie publishing or traditional publishing?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well,
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. Well, when you get to that point, I know a guy.
Yes. I know a guy. I know several people actually. So, and that there are my plan for Gen Con this year, is focusing on the writer symposium, and there's at least one event I think I registered for that was about publishing. So, so hopefully not, but I'm not anywhere even remotely close to thinking about publishing. Like I've most everything at this point is handwritten, you know, writing stuff from various books that I'm reading, because I'm reading like, you know, however many books at the same time. And journal articles, again, another thing that donations will help for, because there's a lot of academic stuff out there on the internet that's behind a paywall. Because unfortunately, I no longer work for a major university where I could get that stuff for free.
Yeah. Even, I mean, our public library, we have a lot of databases and then things that can get access to that, but not.
It's still limited.
Still very limited.
Yeah, mine is that way too. Like there's one database through my library that I have access to, and it has allowed me to find a number of articles that have been referenced in other stuff I've read, but there's still a lot of it that's not available in that one database. So, you know, I'll have to go through.
Yeah.
One of the other academic like Google has a section for like academic journals, but even then it's still limited on what's free versus what's behind a paywall. So
there when you get into academics, there are a lot of paywalls, unfortunately.
This is the joy of writing nonfiction. If I was just writing fiction, I could just make shit up.
Yep. That's what my husband does.
Yes, he's the smart one.
Well,
me, I'm not making anything up. It's all facts.
Indie publishing is a little okay whether you're doing fiction or nonfiction publishing. Yes. So it's all the same. But either way, whatever you decide to do, good luck, and
thank you.
Let us know if there's anything we can do to help or contribute. And that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So cool. Anyway, so the Fangirls, it's 10 years on and we're still trucking. So
yes,
this is gonna be fun. We'll see how long we can keep this up. I hope for a long time yet.
Same.
I'm actually, I don't want to say I'm surprised we made it to 10 years. I'm just sort of like, wow, it's 10 years already. But then I look at I mean, my kids first off. I have children.
Yes.
At this point, but I'm like, I don't know. I see how big they are and what they're doing, and I'm like, you guys were just little. And I think about the same thing with this podcast. Like, we were so little, and now we're less little. But it's fun. We've had fun. Hope our listeners have had fun, and we will continue to have fun and all the squee.
Yep.
Anybody else have any parting shots?
If anyone wants to sponsor a Fiveish Fangirls getaway to somewhere so we can all be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Just saying. Yeah, this comes up every time we hit some sort of anniversary, whether it's an epiversary or a yearly anniversary, and but it's got to happen at some point.
It really does. It really does. Come to Salt Lake City. We'll go to Crown Burger. They make the best burgers. And fries and onion rings. Oh, they're great. Anyway, now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, well, if any of our listeners either want to send us on a getaway or just send us feedback, either way, you can send it to us by our email, which is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, which is thefiveishfangirls.com. That has links to all of our social media, has our show notes. Anything we said we'd link to will be there. You can leave comments there. We'll read those out as feedback. Same with anything you leave a comment on our social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, which is we post the podcast there. And also with some little extras every once in a while that we tickle our fancy. And we also have a Patreon and a merch shop if you want to support us in that way, which of course we are very appreciative of, and whatever, if you can. We're, no pressure. Just, we're glad you're listening. We appreciate your downloading the podcast, interacting with us on social media, whatever it is you do that involves us. We appreciate you. And it's been 10 years, you guys. 10 freaking years that we've been doing this, and I'm just still trying to wrap my head around that. But here we are, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy this. This is good times. So I hope all our listeners have good times, and keep that feedback coming. Whatever else. But
we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Love you all.
Yes.
And I love you guys.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, we shall sign off for this week and this decade and start rolling into the next one.
Yep.
We're back. Don't worry.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, this is Brittany and Bagel saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. I need to renew my passport. So if anybody wants to send us on a trip, preferably U.S. based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's overseas, give us some runtime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Nick would love to see us.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, the only one I know overseas is Nick.
Yeah. Thank you, our Fiveish fam, for joining us on this week's geeky journey. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Stay connected with us on our website, thefiveishfangirls.com, and follow us on most social media with @FiveishFangirls. Plus, check out our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back, to see how we're making a positive impact in our community. Until next time, stay nerdy and let the squee continue.